B2. From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings in London. And from our desk in Washington, Frank Reynolds.
Good evening. The controversy over a possible boycott of the Olympics continues to dominate the news here tonight. Within the next few days, President Carter will decide whether to request an American boycott of the Moscow Olympics this summer in protest against the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Today, two top officials of the American Olympic Committee went to the White House, and when they left, they made it clear they still believe a boycott would be a mistake. Here's a report from White House correspondent Sam Donaldson.
U.S. Olympic officials met for 2.5 hours with Secretary of State Cyrus Vance and Presidential Counsel Lloyd Cutler in an effort to convince them that boycotting the Olympic Games is a bad idea.
I consider it inappropriate because to boycott would be to boycott the Games and to boycott the owner of the Games, the International Olympic Committee. The problem we have is with the site, and it should be pursued through the International Olympic Committee, which is the owner of the Games.
The Olympic officials said they want to be patriotic Americans, but in a written statement made it clear they will not let the president tell them what to do in this matter. The statement said in part, if the President of the United States advocates a boycott, we will immediately poll the U.S. team. And based on the collective view of the athletes, the USOC Executive Board will then make a decision on whether or not to enter the Games. When President Carter left Bethesda Naval Hospital today after a routine annual physical examination, it was the Olympic question reporters wanted to ask.
Should we participate in the Olympics, sir?
But the president declined to give any answer, and his press secretary said he will make up his mind on what to do about the Olympics within the next few days. The president wants to move the Games from Moscow or boycott them. The U.S. Olympic Committee would go along with the move, but not a boycott, not automatically, telling Mr. Carter today in blunt terms that if it is to be a boycott, it will be American athletes who make that decision, not him. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
The question of a boycott has become involved in politics. Senator Edward Kennedy wound up his active campaigning in Iowa today. The senator is opposed not only to the grain embargo the president has ordered against the Soviets, he also disagrees with him about a boycott of the Olympics. Kennedy said today he is reluctant to see either grain or games used as a political measure. About the Olympics, Kennedy said, we should send the best athletes we have to Moscow and bring back all the gold. On this last weekend, before the Iowa caucuses next Monday, Lynn Scher has a report on a new ABC News survey of the experts in both parties in Iowa.
The man who's been having such a hard time being recognized nationally has apparently gotten his message across in Iowa. For George Bush, who's been campaigning in the state since March, the hard work has paid off at the expense of national Republican frontrunner Ronald Reagan. According to an ABC News survey of 92 of Iowa's 99 Republican county chairmen, Reagan will win with only 24% of the delegates statewide, with Bush close behind with 21%. With 22% undecided, it is clear that Bush has a real chance to tie or even beat Ronald Reagan. The only Republican to come near Bush's strength is Senator Howard Baker with 13%. The other four major GOP candidates are far behind. On the Democratic side, Senator Edward Kennedy's extensive grassroots organization in Iowa doesn't seem to be working for him. In the opinion of 90 of the 99 Democratic county chairmen reached by ABC News, President Carter is the clear favorite with 45%. Senator Kennedy gets only 28%. Governor Jerry Brown now urging his supporters to vote uncommitted, a mere 3%. Uncommitted, 10%. Only 14% don't know, making an upset unlikely. These numbers showing that Bush may do surprisingly well and that President Carter holds a big lead over Senator Kennedy are significant because the Iowa caucuses will be won or lost on Monday as the result of political organization, not public popularity. And no one knows better than the county chairman we interviewed how effective that organizing has been. Lynn Scher, ABC News, New York.
This is James Wooten.
If the Iowa campaign sometimes sounds as unintelligible as this, it may have something to do with the multitude of candidates. 7 Republicans and now 2 Democrats. Half of them, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Kennedy, and Connally, are spending the Iowa maximum, $480,000. Total campaign spending is estimated now at $3 million. And with 60,000 people expected to participate in the caucuses, that comes to $50 apiece. And that sounds just a little extravagant to some Iowa voters.
You better save the money. Give it to the poor people. I could stand some. Come on.
There's a few of them I wouldn't vote for on a bet, that's for sure.
It's probably an illusion because I'm sure we won't see anything of these politicians again until probably 1984.
Passionate issues are scarce in Iowa in 1980, but the events in Iran and Afghanistan have had an impact.
Picked out a candidate?
Well, I thought I had. I had one all picked out, and then since all this crisis came up and everything, it kind of changed everything around. I was swinging towards Kennedy, and he made some remarks there that didn't sell too good with me, and I'm kind of in turmoil. I don't really know who I'm going to vote for yet.
What about the embargo?
Well, we can't just keep giving and giving and giving, and then, you know, we've got to do something.
But all across the state, there's a sense that nothing can or will be done. In fact, it's cynicism, not passion, that seems to have caked itself on Iowa politics this year.
Well, I used to think that the Republican Party was okay. Now, I still believe in voting for a few of them to keep the Democrats honest.
What do you think of Carter?
I voted for that Scudder and Nixon twice. Now, could you be any worse than that?
I always believed in voting for the man. The man never voted for us.
Some folks say presidential politics is a noble profession, an honorable calling. Some folks say it's a dirty, smelly, noisy business. On this last weekend before the first contest of 1980, the question is still unresolved. As one of these farmers put it, you pays your money and you takes your choice. James Wooten, ABC News, Kelowna, Iowa.
President Carter has gone to Camp David for the weekend before leaving Washington this afternoon. Mr. Carter drove to the Bethesda Naval Hospital for his annual physical checkup. The White House pronounced him in excellent health. Max Robinson is on assignment tonight. Still ahead on tonight's broadcast, a report on the betting on this Sunday's Super Bowl. The Las Vegas bookies are doing a big business. And Lake Placid prepares for the Winter Olympics, needing nothing more than a lot more snow.
ABC's World News Tonight, brought to you by Geritol, America's #1 iron and vitamin supplement. Geritol every day. Geritol is for now.
Don't wait for someday. Geritol is for now.
I used to think I wasn't old enough for Geritol. Now I'm old enough to know better.
I take a Geritol tablet every morning. That way I'm sure I'm getting enough iron and vitamins.
And if she ever forgets her Geritol, I remind her.
Geritol, America's #1 iron and vitamin supplement, with more than double the iron of any ordinary supplement and important vitamins. Don't wait for someday. Geritol is for now.
Geritol every day.
Hey, guess who gets 21 miles per gallon? Surprised? A lot of folks are. But the 1980 Jeep CJ with a feisty 4-cylinder engine gets the best gas mileage of any 4-wheel drive vehicle built in America. An EPA estimated MPG of 21 and a highway estimate of 25. So get into CJ Fun and get going with fuel economy you can be proud of. With a 1980 Jeep CJ. Who says economy has to be dull?
Day 76 of captivity for the American hostages in Tehran, and there are no encouraging signs their release can be expected soon. In fact, the hopes that were raised earlier this week by reports of a new initiative involving the United Nations now seem to have been dashed. Here's a report from UN correspondent Lou Cioffi.
Despite assurances that they're ready to talk, the Iranians are still refusing to make any kind of deal involving the release of the hostages. That's what's blocked UN Secretary General Waldheim in his efforts to mediate the dispute. Earlier this week, he was optimistic when the Iranians said he was an acceptable intermediary. After a week of talks with them, Mr. Waldheim has found there's not much to mediate. The Iranians say they like his idea of a UN commission to look into charges against the former Shah, but they insist on practically writing the commission's final report, so it will approve their demand for the return of the Shah and his financial assets. As for Mr. Waldheim's proposal that the hostages be released either before or at the same time as the commission investigation, the Iranians say no. The commission must first finish its work. Then, and only then, will they be willing to even begin discussing the question of the hostages. Despite some early optimism, the Iranians are still showing no sign at all of compromise. This is Lou Ciaffi, ABC News at the United Nations.
It is beyond doubt that this photograph of a blindfolded hostage is one of the more vivid and haunting images of 1979 and now of 1980. This picture has been on almost every news broadcast we have done since the first week of November. He is Barry Rosen, and now he too has written a letter home. Here's a report from James Walker.
Day 2, embassy takeover. Press attaché Barry Rosen, blindfolded, his hands bound, is paraded behind the main gate by his captors. 2 months later, he wrote his wife, saying that while conditions have improved, he's no longer tied up, he still faces some problems.
Whatever, this is the 69th day and we're holding our own. I'm all right, but having problems sleeping now. A doctor has been in to see us regularly and he is trying to help me. He says it's nervousness, a natural phenomena given the circumstances.
Barry Rosen's wife read his letter in an effort to counter the more disturbing letters from other hostages, like this one from 26-year-old Johnny McKeel, read by his father.
I have seen better living conditions in a dog pound than what we have here. I have lost 25 pounds and as skinny as a board.
They have not been tied up, there has not been noise, there has not been light, and food, in fact, is so plenty that they don't know even what to do.
The Iranian chargé d'affaires also suggested that the letters from the hostages might be forgeries.
And they swear to their best of knowledge that, in fact, the letters are checked. They don't let, perhaps, such letters to come out.
This is the first letter we've got that we know that he's wrote. It's his writing, and we know it's him, and it sounds like him.
The wife of hostage Moorhead Kennedy said the letter she received seemed genuine. In it, her husband appeared to doubt that he will see his family again.
Whatever happens to me, and when, you will have to be very brave, and I know you are.
James Walker, ABC News.
And I know it.
We'll have another special report tonight on the crises in Iran and Afghanistan. Tonight's broadcast at the usual hour, 11:30, 10:30 Central Time.
I just got it. It's a new Chevy Chevette. The lowest priced four-door hatchback built in America with lots of standard features and great mileage. You don't need a foreign car to get all that. And right now, they're building more small Chevys than ever. So it was easy to get what I wanted. A lot of car for the money. Yep, Chevy Chevette's got it. Hi, Mom. Now we've got it.
Yeah, Chevy's got it. Just come to get it. Get a brand new Chevrolet.
What's the matter, Harry? Old Chopper's coming loose, huh? Oh, boy.
When you wear dentures, there's nothing funny about loose spots.
The answer? Today's Fixodent. Fixodent helps fix loose spots, fills those tiny gaps between dentures and gums with ingredients that give added dimension to holding.
Harry!
Uh-oh, look who's coming.
He's no big problem now. Neither are my loose spots.
Hi!
Today's Fixodent helps fix loose spots.
Are you paying through the nose for your deodorant? Why waste money? Get on the stick. Speed Stick Solid Deodorant from Menon. Look, you'd use up 2 3-ounce sprays and start a third before you'd use up 1 2.5-ounce Speed Stick. Not only that, Speed Stick is effective. 60% more effective against odor than the leading deodorant spray. So why pay through the nose for an aerosol?
Why waste money?
Try Speed Stick Solid Deodorant from Menon.
Nivea Moisturizing Lotion announces the return to the simple pleasures of hand-holding, walking arm in arm, and footsie. Because Nivea brings back softness, velvety softness to your hands and arms, silky smoothness to your body and legs. As Nivea moisturizes your skin, Nivea brings back softness.
A diplomatic incident is underway tonight at John F. Kennedy Airport in New York involving Pan American Airways ground personnel who have walked off their jobs. They say they will not service the Soviet airline Aeroflot in protest against the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. In the process, they've grounded the flight of U.S. Ambassador Thomas Watson, who is trying to fly back to Moscow tonight. Earlier today, Soviet Ambassador Anatoly Dobrynin landed at JFK, despite a threat by air controllers there not to allow his plane to land. In Washington, there is yet another flap involving charges by the Soviets that U.S. agents have planted secret bugging devices in the living quarters of the Soviet embassy. George Strait has that story.
As the Soviets tell it, they were making a routine check of their new $11 million embassy complex when they came across the listening device. They found it here in the ceiling next to the wall separating the living room and bedrooms. They traced the bug through the ceiling molding, finding a wire leading to a transmitter just outside of the hall window. The Soviets say the device could pick up anything from a word in the living room to whispers in the bedroom, or even water splashing in the nearby bathroom. So far, they say this is the only device they've found, but they've begun an inch-by-inch search for more. Soviet officials have filed a formal protest over the incident, charging U.S. intelligence agencies were responsible for the bug. The American contracting company building the complex expressed shock at the Soviet allegation. The State Department refused comment. George Strait, ABC News, Washington.
Now in London, here is Peter Jennings.
Frank, besides the Soviet protest about bugging, the Moscow press ended this week with a full-bore broadside against American foreign policy. The Pravda commentator Yuri Zhukov wrote that Washington is having a fit of bellicose psychosis, one interpretation of which is warlike insanity. The government newspaper Izvestia said the embargo against the Soviet Union will have a more dire effect on the American rather than the Soviet economy. There was virtually no mention of the Soviet adventure in Afghanistan. Of Afghanistan itself today, there are unconfirmed reports that Soviet helicopter gunships have been attacking Afghanistani rebels near the eastern city of Jalalabad. Many of the reports come from next-door Pakistan, where the Chinese foreign minister arrived today. Huang Hua presumably is indicating China's support for the government of President Zia. China has agreed with the United States that there is a need to strengthen Pakistan. In Yugoslavia tonight, there continues to be widespread concern about the health of President Tito. He is 87 years old, and his leg, which was operated on last weekend without success, continues to deteriorate. In Belgrade, here is Pierre Salinger.
The last public appearance of President Tito was on New Year's Eve, 18 days ago. Since then, except for sparse medical bulletins, the subject of his health has been taboo in Yugoslavia. The Yugoslavs, with the scant information they are receiving, are up to now taking the situation calmly. But there is growing anxiety about the possibility of Soviet intervention in Yugoslavia, particularly since the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. If President Tito should die, the interim direction of the country will be taken over by the 9-man state presidency and the 24-member Communist Party presidency. But history teaches us that collective leadership does not last very long, and sooner or later, someone will emerge as Tito's successor. Pierre Salinger, ABC News, Belgrade.
Angela, I just sold the Scott Mansion. Terrific.
This calls for coffee.
Whoa.
Only half a cup. Don't you like my coffee?
Love the rich taste. It's the caffeine I can do without.
You happen to be drinking Brim decaffeinated coffee.
This is Brim?
This is Brim. And it's decaffeinated, so you don't have to stop at half a cup.
If it tastes this rich, I don't want to stop. Fill it to the rim.
With Brim?
Fill your cup to the rim with the rich taste of Brim.
We're showing Bob that 1 ounce of Fortified Total has 100% of the recommended daily allowance of these 9 important vitamins plus iron. Bob, what cereal did you have for breakfast?
This morning, one of the all-natural cereals.
How do you think 1 ounce of your all-natural cereal will compare with Total?
I'd say pretty well.
Let's compare.
Total is that much higher?
That's right. If you want 100% of these 9 vitamins and iron, get Total.
That's quite a difference.
That's the total difference.
Doesn't this look awful? Static cling. I'm Marion Ross, and I have to look my best on camera and off. So I depend on Static Guard. It sprays right on your clothes to stop static cling anytime, anywhere. See? It's amazing. So quick, so easy. It works on sweaters, dry cleanables, pantyhose, lingerie, everything. Don't get stuck with static cling. Get Static Guard so you can always look your best.
Saturday at a special time, 8-7 Central and Mountain, the Love Boat sails on a special 2-hour star-packed cruise.
Surprise!
Pam Grier and Benson's Robert Guillaume get caught playing mix and match.
Maybe they're kissing cousins.
Lonnie Anderson brings on the steam with Donny Osmond.
What are you gawking at?
And Rich Little.
You get me one of those?
And through it all, the Love Boat might just be sinking.
The deck is flooded.
A 2-hour all-star Love Boat at 8-7 Central and Mountain.
The year-end figures on the economy came out today, and there's one thing missing: the recession that was so universally predicted. The gross national product in 1979 grew by 2.3%, but the economists assure us the recession will be here soon, this winter or spring. A major economic story will be played out this Sunday in Pasadena. Some, including the Rams and the Steelers, may call it a sports story. But as Tom Shell reports, that's not the way the odds makers in Las Vegas see it.
More than 100,000 fans will jam into this stadium on Sunday for the Super Bowl when the Steelers meet the Rams. But all of the action won't be on the field. Betting on the Super Bowl is big business.
Who are you betting on?
Steelers.
Steelers?
Yeah.
210 to win 100? 220 to win 2.
Gamblers here in Las Vegas say that close to $1 billion will be on the line by kickoff time Sunday. And that's just the legal betting. At the Santa Anita Sportsbook on the Strip, it isn't who wins or loses, it's how you bet the game.
The Steelers are favored by 10.5. Irregardless whether you lay the 10.5 or take the 10.5. For every $10 you want to win, you put up 11. You can bet the over and under total points scored on the game, 35. Same way, 11 to 10. As an added attraction here, we have over and under betting by quarters.
If that sounds complicated, DeMare has some advice for the novice bettor.
Study. Study. Read everything you can in connection with that particular sport you're betting.
But for many bettors, it's emotion and team loyalty.
Rams going to win.
Okay, very good.
Look at that on TV now. Rams going to win.
We got the Steelers and Steelers over. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. You see, that's what I mean. You know what Carter says? You never can tell what's in a peanut shell.
Mystery aside, to the odds makers, it's the Steelers by at least 10. Tom Shell, ABC News, Las Vegas.
Back in 1975 and 1976, Arthur Ashe was the top player on the World Championship tennis circuit. And as his prizes, he was offered either trophies or the equivalent in cash, $66,000. Well, Ashe was obviously as good an economist as he was a tennis pro. He picked the trophies, solid gold tennis balls, each weighing 188.7 ounces. Gold in New York today closed at $812 an ounce. Arthur Ashe's trophies are now worth $309,966. Not bad. In London, gold prices were even higher.
If you're a kid, you're going to like TWA, because TWA lets you fly all over the U.S. free, just like last year. You have to go with a grown-up, but you don't have to be real little, like my brother. He's 11. Oh, yeah, tell your parents they can get a discount, too. Work for me.
TWA, where kids fly free.
You're gonna like us, TWA.
When Karen was 1, I began to worry about tiny lines and wrinkles. And as she grew older, I didn't want to look any older than I was. Then I discovered the secret of Oil of Olay. Tropical oil and precious emollients help ease dryness that can accentuate tiny lines. Helps make your skin soft and young-looking. Now look how she's grown. And Bill, he says I never looked better.
Oil of Olay. It can help you look younger, too.
Elsewhere overseas, on the west coast of Sweden today, this freighter did this to this highway bridge. The Liberian registered Star Clipper was in thick fog at the time. The main section of the 500-yard-long span collapsed. Police say 7 vehicles plunged 130 feet into the icy waters north of Göteborg. At least 13 people are reported missing, while the ship's crew escaped injury. And finally from overseas, here in Britain, the world-famous photographer and designer Sir Cecil Beaton has died. He was best known here for his portraits of Britain's royal family, but likely better known to Americans for his designs for the films My Fair Lady and Gigi. He won Academy Awards for both. He was a bachelor all his 76 years, though he wrote in his memoirs he had once asked Greta Garbo to marry him. She said no, and as he wrote, her reason was he wouldn't like to see her in the morning in an old man's pajamas. Frank?
Thank you, Peter. With all the attention that is being given the possible boycott of the Summer Olympic Games in Moscow, the Winter Olympics in Lake Placid are now less than a month away. And while there is no talk of a boycott there is a problem. Not nearly enough snow. Bob Brown has the story.
It looks like a spring thaw in the Adirondacks. And on the highways leading into the Olympic events areas, winter snow exists only as a strange cargo, artificially produced and trucked deep into the forests of Mount Van Hoevenberg. There, it is being dumped and spread, truck by truck, yard by yard, along the trails marked for cross-country ski competitions. People who expected to be working on snow removal are instead sweating out both the weather and the Olympic timetable.
I think that we can cover the trails, yes, in the time that we have allotted to us, if it doesn't get too warm, and if we don't have too much rain.
But just in case, authorities aren't trusting nature. As soon as the sun goes down and the temperature drops enough, the compressors are fired up and the snow guns start producing, covering the ski jumps and the downhill courses. The lack of natural snow has had wide impact, especially on pre-Olympic business. Olympic ticket sales are slow. More than 100,000 tickets are left, mainly for outdoor events, where spectators may have to take pictures of all those impressive snow scenes with close-up lenses. After disagreeing with the official position that the Olympics can be held without real snow, the executive director of the Lake Placid Chamber of Commerce, Charles Boster, resigned. He refused to discuss the dispute on camera. But Olympic spokesmen say that even though the cross-country trails may have to be shortened, the events will be held.
I just don't see them being transferred, and we do have the faith that the weather will stay cold enough so we'd make enough snow and cover the courses.
The main reason authorities are optimistic, despite the gloom of constant sunshine, is that they simply don't believe there won't be snow before the Olympics. Besides, they have a 900-ton refrigeration system beneath the luge and bobsled runs, a $5 million snowmaking system on Whiteface Mountain for the downhill runs, and of course the hastily improvised truck brigade for the cross-country trails. And if all else fails, they have the Farmer's Almanac, which predicts snow for the Olympics. Not a moment too soon. Bob Brown, ABC News, Lake Placid, New York.
Thank you, Bob. That's our report for now on World News Tonight. For ABC News, good night.
From ABC, this has been World News Tonight.
Good evening, I'm Ann Holt. Newswatch has learned that Metro had equipment that could have saved the paramedic's life during Monday night's sewer accident. Tonight at 6, we'll tell you why that equipment was not used. TV2's Wilson Frazier reports on 3 options Mayor Fulton had